Gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to tonight's feature presentation of the Friends of Sim Racers Tour Racing League Mountain Dew Dash Series here on JTN. I'm your host, as always, Joe Towanski, and tonight I am joined by Mr. Ricky Collette. Welcome, Ricky.
Hi there, Joe. Thanks for having me tonight.
And tonight we have a treat for our viewing audience, whether they're watching live here on YouTube or watching the replay after the matter, because, there's a NASCAR Truck Series race on right now. We are at the beautiful Kansas Speedway in Kansas City, Kansas. Now, Kansas presents some unique opportunities for drivers, doesn't it, Ricky?
Oh yeah, it definitely does, Joe. It's a very interesting place to come and try to race at. Mile and a half track, pretty well banked turns, low powered cars, grippy surface. This whole race is just going to be about drafting, and more drafting. And it's going to be a very interesting chess match to see how this plays out.
Now, you talk about Kansas as a chess match. Is that just because it's more with these GNS cars, it's more along the lines of a super speedway, or is it the racing surface itself?
It's more the racing surface itself. I guess the best way to explain it is almost akin to sort of like an Indy car or something. That like you're basically towing someone's draft the whole time, but you can't just like make a run on them out of nowhere. You kind of have to just sort of follow the dominant line around on how many cars are going in which lane, and then sort of just take your time to slowly set up your move on someone. But it's definitely an interesting draft game that where handling matters a lot, and you're gonna see a lot of tire saving going on tonight because of that.
Yeah, and speaking of tire saving, is there a line that these drivers will take more so to save those tires, or is it just about how hard you're charging the corners?
Yeah, it's gonna be bottom mostly. Kansas, you can definitely make progress up top at Kansas, but it's one of those things where you kind of need a draft to pull that off. You need someone behind you to really pull that off, or you need a big run to be able to even with someone. Really, the best way around here when you're saving tires is going to just be to put as little wheel into it as possible. And usually, the way you do that is betting the car up just to roll it right around on that white line on the bottom of the track there. Um, and by doing that, you're going to save that right front, and you're going to carry a lot more speed throughout the entire run.
Yeah, as the drivers are being called to their cars for qualifying, tonight's field is actually a pretty good size, Ricky. We got a decent amount of cars here. We've seen at times that a smaller field can really play into the hand of some of these drivers, maybe making more pit stops, less pit stops. Last time we were here at Kansas, we only had 3 cautions for 9 laps. Do you think we'll see more of that tonight, or do you think maybe we just see a run straight to the end under the green flag conditions?
Man, I don't know, because the last time you had me in the booth, we were at Dover, and there was about 11 cars, and we thought, oh, there's not going to be a ton of cautions, and then it was we couldn't go 5 laps without a caution. So, but I think the higher speeds here, there's a lot more wiggle room to get around. I think you'll see less cautions if everyone could start spreading out. If everyone stays bunched up, we're going to see a ton of cautions. But I think if we can get a few clean laps in, we'll definitely start seeing some big runs get set up.
It'll be interesting to see if how strategy ends up playing a part for these drivers. Obviously, with such a small field, qualifying has to be maybe not as important as normal. Would I be correct in thinking that?
Yeah, with any kind of small field, it's definitely a lot easier to get to the front. I do think there's still a premium for starting out front because the thing that happens when you're riding around in the back at a draft heavy track like this is that you get you get dirty air, and in the context of NR, what that basically means is that just because you're towing a guy's draft, you're carrying a lot more speed into the turn than you are when you're up front getting pushed by someone just by air. So, the nose just wants to plow. You're carrying a lot more speed into the turn than you expect. You could rack up some laps, but you kind of burn out your tires a lot quicker than the guy in front of you. So there's definitely a premium for being out front leading here so that you aren't being towed around that draft. You get to dictate the pace of the race, and you can just kind of pace yourself while doing that.
And last week we saw Corbin Huffman come back, made a couple mistakes in the closing laps of the race, went and took the lead, then lost the lead because of those mistakes, and then went and took it back and won the race. Do you think we'll see something similar tonight where a driver really has their own car under their control, or do you think the racetrack will, like last week, come up and bite these guys in the butt?
I think this racetrack's going to come up and bite these guys. It's not going to be in the way that you think. I don't think it's going to be like brutal in terms of we're not talking like Dover where we're talking a racetrack where you're just going to get eaten alive by the wall. I think this track's going to chew everyone up just in that sense that you're going to see guys burn out their tires and then they're going to just be limping around for an entire run. Notably obvious to the guys that managed to save their stuff till the end of a run.
Yeah, as we're now getting into happy hour. Ricky, why don't you go ahead and take us through the starting lineup for tonight's race?
All right, I'd be glad to. Front row tonight, we have Corbin Huffman in the number 23 Chevrolet. Not row one, pole position. My apologies. Second position, we'll have the 15 of Matt Watkins. Third position, the 18 of Robert Bauckham. Fourth's going to have Philip Parker in the 51. Cody Luke rounds out the top 5 in the 4 car. Greg Lavelle in the 08 will be 6th. Randall Coleman in the 9 will be in 7th. Zach Krastowski will be in 8th. And Bill Murnahan in the 3 will be rounding out the field in 9th.
And like I said, a small field, but Ricky, you got 9 guys to pick from. Who are you picking to win tonight's race?
I think I'm gonna put my money down on Randall Coleman for tonight. He definitely loves these kind of mile and a halves. He's definitely become quite patient at them. I've raced with him a ton at Kansas, both day and night, any series that you can name. And he's always a factor in these things. He likes to sort of be susceptible. You'll have someone running up front that's not him, and then by the end of the race, he kind of just sneaks up there and takes the win. So I think he's going to be a good one to watch.
Yeah, and if I had to pick somebody to win, it's really tough. We got a lot of really competitive guys, a lot of really competitive cars, a lot of cars coming from the same stable, that being the Revolution Motorsports. But I'd probably have to go with the 23 of Corbin Huffman just because he's got a lot of momentum right now. Winning last week, he won the last 2 Truck Series races, which take place on Friday nights here at Fast. So he's got a lot of momentum on his side, and I assume he'll be very strong throughout the race, and hoping that he can close out the win just so I can actually get a pick right in one of these races. Again, tonight we will be taking you on the ride of a lifetime here at Kansas Speedway for 67 laps. Last time we were here at Kansas, the guy that neither of us picked, Robert Bauckham, won after leading 14 laps. And my teammate, Sean Whitehill, actually led the most laps last time. We know Sean is out there hopefully watching this evening. We couldn't get that 12 car to the track, but really proud of their effort last time, even though they weren't with us as a team at that point, but that Ford Alliance, and really good to see a healthy field here this evening in Kansas after all of the events going on in the last few weeks. If you're watching with us, I encourage you to go down to the description of the live stream or the video, depending on how you're watching it, of course. Click on the link that'll take you to the JTN Facebook page. Give us a like and a follow there. That will make sure that you are notified the day of anytime we're doing a broadcast. Right now, we're only broadcasting Tuesday nights. You can also, if you run your own league, inquire about JTN bringing you broadcasted NR 2003 races. And inquire about the rates and whatnot that go along with that. Ricky, we're in for a treat this evening. Are you ready to go racing here in Kansas?
Oh, absolutely, Joe. I've just been waiting here, kicking my leg, just waiting for this happy hour to get out so we can hit the track and go racing here at Kansas. Should be a fun night.
Now, another thing about happy hour a lot of times is the guys are practicing pit stops, and my thinking is that it's gonna be a lot of green flag laps, but we're seeing a lot of guys lock their tires up coming to pit road. Do you think how do you feel about that maybe being an issue for these guys as the race goes on?
Well, I'd rather them be locking them up than sending it sideways. Some of these tracks are just absolutely brutal with trying to get to pit road. You know, especially tracks where it's really hard on cold tires. The car will just get really loose when when you're at low speeds. Usually that kind of go hand in hand. Even though it's usually will be late in a run, you'll have warmed up your tires by then. You know, the track just doesn't like it when the car is not at full song and full grip. But this is a lot more forgiving on that. You definitely feel a lot more control trying to get on pit road down here. 3 and 4 is not that treacherous. The car's planted. It's a fixed setup tonight, so I'm sure it's snug enough that it's not wrecking loose. So I think it won't be a huge issue for these guys. I think they're pushing it right now just to see what they can get away with, which is a telltale sign that it's not super treacherous on pit road, that they're not just focusing on trying not to die on pit road. So I don't think it will be a huge issue come race time. I think they're all just trying to kind of test their luck while they have the chance to do it.
And I think it'll be interesting too. You know, everyone was coming to pit road.
Corbin Huffman lighting up his tires right now.
A lot of these guys, when they're practicing pitting too, they're coming down pit road by themselves. And we saw a couple weeks ago at Charlotte, another 1.5-mile track on the schedule, that there were a lot of issues coming to pit road for teammates even in that race, being the 23 and the 88, Corbin Huffman and Darren Ingram. Are you really concerned tonight with a small field about pitting with teammates, maintaining your draft, or are you going to look more so trying to come down by yourself so everything's in your control?
Oh, I would still focus on maintaining my draft, absolutely. With a smaller field like this, if you're maintaining like a drafting group, then you have much more of a chance of getting a leg up anyone that sort of falls short of a pack after a pit stop. So you really want to try to stay in a group here. But it's still treacherous to pit with people though, just because it's almost like it's almost like the real rules of the road. You kind of just have to assume that no one's going to follow the same caution as you when you're doing anything, and that always happens with pit road in these races. So you kind of have to be careful for someone else making a big mess for you.
Yeah, as the cars are getting lined up on pit road, we're excited to bring you tonight's race. So you hear the command to start engines. Everyone gets them fired up, ready to go here at Kansas. 67 laps. It's going to be a great one here tonight, guys. Really glad that you're joining us. And wherever you're joining us, remember to give us a like, a follow, subscribe here on YouTube. Anything you do to support us at JTN, it really goes a long way and helps with us continuing to do these broadcasts and finding the motivation in a lot of ways. We had a little hiccup last week with the Iowa race, with audio being rough at the start, that being no audio, but we're glad that you gave us another chance. You're joining us again here on YouTube at JoeTowNetwork. That's me, alongside this evening Ricky Collette, and we're going to be in for a great showing. The cars roll into 3 and 4. It'll be interesting to see too tonight. It's a lot of Chevys. Everyone but Matt Watkins. A story that's been, well, story of the season so far. Watkins has usually been one of the only Toyota, if not one of two, and usually the only guy that's not in a Chevy. So it'll be interesting to see if those manufacturer lines play out. The pace car is off. Cars rolling through the trials. Stands are packed. As they come to the restart zone, green flag is in the air. We are underway racing here at Kansas. You see Philip Parker, Ricky. He gets down to that inside line like you were talking about at the top of the hour. He dove down there really quick. Do you think that was maybe a little aggressive for the start, or do you think he's just trying to get in the positions on these restarts is that important?
No, yeah, they're definitely that important, Joe. You just want to, it's there, 15:51 coming off 4. You really want to make sure that you're getting every position you can, even on the start here, because like I said, it takes some work to make a pass. When we get up to speed and everyone's up to speed, it takes a lot of work. You can see Matt Watkins here starting to get a leg back up on Philip Parker. Neither of them really have a drafting help, so it's more just car to car. But it takes a lot to set someone up and make that pass. So you're going to take positions anywhere you can get them, and that includes when everyone's kind of getting up to speed on restarts, trying to get the jump on someone.
Yeah, as now we're watching Randall Coleman, your pick to win. He moves into the 4th position here. Really good start for Randall after starting in the back half of the field, even though, a smaller field this evening. He passed Lavelle in the 08 with Zach Krastowski right behind him. Looks like Lavelle peeks to the inside, but it doesn't look like he'll have a run.
Yeah, and you'll see a lot of this. You'll see guys kind of start taking peeks here and there just to see where they can kind of get an advantage on the guy in front of them. A lot of the game right now is that you're just riding behind him, just waiting for that draft to kind of suck you up. You're really, especially early on in the race here, you just want to make sure you keep your pace with the guy in front of you, because having that draft is only going to work if you're on the same lap times as them. As you can see, Phil Parker in the 51 right up against the back of the 15. He's sticking right there. You see Randall Coleman starting to come up because he's doing the same thing, just running right in his tire tracks, making sure that he's putting down a quicker lap than the guy in front of him just so that he can play catch up.
And you talked about, too, the fact of, clean air being so important in track position. Part of that peaking out, that could be also trying to get clean air on the nose to help the car turn a little better, right?
Yeah, I definitely think so. The problem, though, too, with the way these tractors get set up, like I was talking about with lines, is that if enough guys are kind of congregated in a line, they'll just start kind of moving on their own. So, for example, you see Corbin Huff and up here in the lead. If these 4 guys all just went up to the wall right now, they probably could just start tracking them down, and they could probably pass them on the high side just because they have the numbers there. So you're kind of trying to peek just to see if you can figure out a better spot to gain speed on the guy, but a lot of times you almost kind of just content to sit in that dirty air because it means that you're going to have that straightaway speed coming off the turns.
As we watch Randall Coleman starting to try to work into third position on Philip Parker. Parker looked like he hit the wall or going into turn 1 that last time, but it looks like Coleman's now backing off. They were really close down the backstretch. Momentum's got to play a big role, too, in tonight's event, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely, and that's you really want to just make sure you're always hitting your marks, because everyone's running so close here. The draft means so much. If you can do anything to sort of just get that little bit of a leg up, just get that little extra momentum, it carries you past people. So it's really a game of just maintaining that momentum turn.
As we're here in Kansas, Corbin Huffman is currently your leader. He's followed by Matt Watkins, Philip Parker, Randall Coleman, and it's Greg Lavelle in the 08 this evening, right?
Yes.
Want to make sure I got that correct. In that 08 tide ride, sitting in 5th, round out your top 5.
Oh, see Randall Coleman going on the inside of the 51 here. You just see that he just leapfrogged him because that 51 didn't have a draft. He just sort of hopped out of line. There were 3-car drafts there, and Randall just sort of snuck on by him because they came off the turn running essentially the same line. It was just the 51 went up to sort of see if he could do anything with the 15, and Randall just went in where he wasn't. And oh, you see Matt Watkins making a big move here to the inside. I don't know if he got into the back of the 23 there. That was a really sudden movement by the 23. And oh, Randall Coleman pushes up the track a little bit too.
Yeah, that was a big move. It looked like he might have got into the back bumper. You'd have to look at that again, but Matt Watkins did a really good job of following the 23 of Corbin Huffman into the corner to try to get him loose. But now Randall Coleman looks to his inside for the lead here.
Yeah, with that 23 car, sometimes there's mind games that go here too. So you get right up on his back bumper. As we see Randall Coleman going to the lead here and the 51 following him. When you get up to someone's back bumper entering a turn, you don't really know what they're going to do. So sometimes you can kind of psych them out. You know how you're going to take the corner. They don't know, but you kind of have a good idea of what they're going to do. So they sort of you can get a little psyched when people do that, and you might just be like, you know what, I'll let you by because you don't want to get wrecked. But you might also just overdrive the turn just a little bit and give them that chance to kind of hop into your position. I think Corbin Huffman will make another charge back up here pretty quickly, though.
As Randall's your current leader, he's followed by the 51 and the 15. Those two numbers, obviously flipped. But yeah, Corbin, he lost a lot of spots there relatively quickly. Is that just, that getting out of the draft? Because we saw Matt Watkins also get to that outside, but he was able to at least settle back into third position here.
Yeah, I think it was getting out of the draft a little bit. We'll do that. He also got a pretty inopportune place, just going up into 3 by himself. I think that really exaggerated it as well. Interesting thing I'm taking note of here, Joe. Looking back here at the 23 Corbin Huffman, 08 Greg Lavelle, 1 Zach Krastowski. I'm not hearing I'm not hearing RPMs as they're going into turn 1 here. I'm almost thinking that they might actually be trying to stretch out the fuel run just a little bit to get them on a 1 stop here.
Yeah, as you can see the front end of the 23 car, it sinks down into the track, so that would be a big sign that they're trying to save fuel. The fuel run is 28 to 32 laps here, so you'd have to save about 3 laps if you make it all the way to the end of the run. But over the course of a race, 3 laps is a very manageable number.
Yeah, absolutely. And you see the 15 of Matt Watkins here actually essentially on the high line here. He might just sacrifice the spot to Greg Lavelle depending on how much Lavelle wants it. The other thing, too, is anything you can save, even if you're not going to make that run, anything you can save now is going to pay off later because you're going to get one stop. Ideally, if this goes green the whole way, you're going to get one stop right around midway in the race. And then whatever you saved is going to kind of come to pay you back because you're going to be able to run more laps out there. You're going to have to put less fuel in your second kid's going to get a lot more distance than it would have if you weren't saving. And then when you come in for that last stop with, who knows, 10, 5 to go, then you can put less fuel in the car and maybe sort of leapfrog some people on pit stops. Let you start doing some tire strategy too if you really want to.
Yeah, as you see the 08 Lavelle, he's really, really clutching hard here in front of the 15 and 23. Probably doing it a little more than they'd like, because it looks like they're really gaining up on his bumper. He probably noticed that they were clutching hard too, trying to make up some ground. Is clutching and trying to save the fuel in the first half of the race or the second half of the race more beneficial?
I'd say second half. It depends on how the flow of the race is going. Like right now, we got guys it's all wide open. We've run 17 laps here. It's at this point in the race, it kind of feels like it's going to be a green race. So they're kind of just going off the hunch that it's going to go green the whole way through. But the problem is, if a caution comes out anytime, that's all for nothing. So you're really taking a gamble saving now because you're losing a ton of track position, and then if caution comes out, you're kind of behind on track position, and then a lot of the fuel that you saved doesn't really amount to anything because everyone fills up at the same time now. So it's more of a gamble to do it early, but it will pay off if you're just doing it if you're able to game it whole race.
As we saw Phil Parker, he looked to the inside of Randall Coleman down the front stretch, but Randall just got such a great run through 3 and 4 on that high side, but now Parker closing back up on his bumper. They're both trying to run this higher line through 3 and 4, but then looks like Parker feels more comfortable running the bottom in 1 and 2, and Randall's car maybe used up those tires a little bit, making that charge to the lead.
I think Parker might just be towing Randall's draft. That's why they're hanging together. I don't know if Randall burned his stuff out. I was actually kind of starting to think that 51 might be pushing his stuff a little hard. We're on lap 19 right now, halfway on lap 19 right now. I think it was like 3 or 4 laps ago. We were talking about clutching. I saw Parker sort of just graze the wall going into turn 1. Like he's throwing it up as high as he can, just trying to get as much out of the turn. And it's paying off for him right now. I'm a little concerned he might be running. Oh, he just did it again, actually going into 1. Just kind of kiss the wall a little bit. Just trying to get as much surface as he can to diamond the turn. So I think these guys are both running pretty hard. I think right now Randall has more of the chance to kind of pace himself, but I think Parker's definitely pushing it at the moment.
As he looks to the inside again here, coming off the corner, but doesn't obviously have the positioning. Goes right up to the wall. Parker's being really aggressive too with his arc through this corner. He's making those wide arcs, apexing the corner really low, or at least lower than Randall in the 9, and then getting really high off exit. Is that just helping build the momentum for that 51 car?
Yeah, that is. Well, the best thing you could do as a trailing car is just get yourself through the turn quicker than the guy in front of you. I know that sounds stupid, but look, you're trying to outfox how they're racing the track, so you're not just running in their tire track. So I think what Phil Parker's trying to do here, Randall's running a little higher. I think he's just trying to run the shortest distance that he could possibly come up with around this turn, and also carry the most momentum, which would be to arc it really high and then sort of let the car just carry itself down to the center of the corner and then get back on it, just power off the turn. So it's definitely, I think he's definitely doing what he needs to do to size Randall up here. My concern is just how hard is he going to wear out his tires doing this.
Well, as you talked about it, we're now over the 20 laps into this race, so pit stops will be coming up here in the next 10 or so laps. You see Parker really pushing up off the corner. They're side by side down the backstretch.
Yeah, we're on lap 23 right now. It should be about, five, give or take 5 laps, somewhere in that range. From now, we'll probably start seeing these guys hit pit road. Some of these guys saving, I'm gonna say you're not gonna see them until they're on fumes, because part of this whole saving strategy now is just you're trying to get as many laps out there on that first tank of gas before you have to come in and fuel up. Because if you come in early, then it kind of defeats the purpose. So they're gonna stretch that as hard as they can. They'll be running, who knows? They could be running on no power coming down pit road when they come down for green flag pit stops.
Yeah, and a guy we haven't talked about yet this evening is the 18 of Robert Bacum. He started up towards the front, but he quickly fell back, and maybe he's probably been saving the most out of these guys, getting the most draft down the straightaways. And how late into a run would you guesstimate he could maybe make it to where he'd only have to make one stop for this race?
I'm not really sure. I wouldn't be able to give you an exact answer on that, just because every track kind of handles a little different. Every chassis type kind of has its own quirks on how many laps you can save on fuel. I'm not but it could be something like this, mile and a half. You might be able to save like 2 or 3 laps, maybe, if you're being very good about it. So ideally, that would be how many laps you could probably run at the end of this run compared to if he was just running wide open. If he's really saving, and then three laps plus added to that on his next run. So something kind of to that change. I wouldn't be able to give you an exact number though. That 3 is just sort of a guess.
So we're getting close to pit stops. We talked about pit stops and happy hour. If you're the 9 of Randall Coleman, you're out in front of these guys. What are you doing in that car as a driver to make sure that they know not to run you over as you're coming to pit road?
You're making it very clear when you're pitting. A lot of times, you're kind of coming to these races and you think, I'm going to be crafting. Tell them I'm pitting like last minute. First of all, I believe there's a provision with fast. I don't know if TDR adheres to it too, that there's a certain point where you got to call out that you're pitting. But realistically, you get on track and you get like scared out of your brains. You're like, that's suicide to be like, I'm pitting now when you're coming out forks. You're going to have the whole field run you over when you slam on the brakes. So you kind of... You play it out. I would imagine Randall's probably going to say, he's not going to say it on the lap that when he crosses the line, as we come across here for lap 29. He's probably going to say, as he's going down the backstretch here, that he's pitting. One thing I want to just point out here, because Coleman and Parker, I haven't really seen them clutch a whole ton. Greg Lavelle has been, and he's actually kind of been trucking them down just a little bit. So I'm thinking, Lavelle's sort of been hanging back. We've seen him kind of in fourth the whole race. He might have been playing the long con here, saving his stuff a little bit, just so they could get with these leaders as they come to their pit stops.
Well, making up some time towards the end of the run too has got to help, because that'll help with your in-lap portion of your pit stop. We talk a lot of times, you hear crews and teams, and they talk about having an in-lap and an out-lap, and how that all combines to make the perfect pit stop, where you're gaining time on the cars around you, either gaining time giving yourself more of a cushion back to that car, or reducing the distance between the car and yourself. So be interesting to see if maybe that's what that 08 team was thinking, trying to reduce that time. I would assume so, because if you're trying to go for the fuel saving strategy, you'd probably still be saving like we see the 23 is.
3 and 4 coming on pit road, Joe. Both of them missed the cone.
Both of them missed the cone?
Both of them missed the cone. Randall Coleman's calling out that he's coming to pit road as well. Sorry, like I said, he was about, halfway down the straightaway. He's just like, I'm not going to tempt fate here. He's coming down by himself, which is an interesting strategy.
Oh,
he misses the cone.
He locked him
Randall
up coming
Coleman
to pit road.
Missed the cone. Oh my goodness, this is what I'm talking about being fate. These guys really, I think these guys kind of got a little cocky. They saw the track that you could get down pit road pretty sturdy, and they're just trying to see how quickly they can get down there. That was a hard lockup by the 9 of Randall Coleman.
Well, and that's a huge mistake for that 9 team. It's just really unfortunate.
We're 0 for 3 right now on people making that cone, I believe.
Well, I think Philip Parker's, he's going to do a better job.
Yeah,
he takes it really easy.
He knows Randall missed that cone. Randall missed that cone, and he was like, oh no, I missed the cone. He was like, I'm not even going to mess with that, Which sometimes that's the thing. It's very aggressive and have results, but there's definitely something to be said about sort of just taking your time and letting everyone else make the mistakes. And I think that was a good move on Phil Parker's, especially with how hard he was running earlier in the run, to sort of just take his time, get the pit road here.
And Lavelle misses the cone.
He misses it as well. Corbin Huffman.
He makes it, but he had to stop in the middle of the track, so he lost a lot of time.
He just leapfrogged both of them, got the pit road, because he was the only one that made it. You're interested to see if the 3 and the 4 get penalties here. If the 4 doesn't, then maybe he did make pit road, and I'm just fake news. But he got close to that. But Corbin Huffman just barely made it, and So these guys really shot past that. You see the fifth Matt Watkins
He locks
in
him up
18.
in 18.
Yeah. Oh,
That's not good to see that on the 18. That much tire smoke.
Joe, you see the 08 of Greg Lavelle come down. Joe, I gotta be. I'm one to admit when I was wrong. Pit road might be a little trickier than we gave it credit for. These guys are really locking it up. Not expecting to be locking it up that much.
Well, and I'm thinking most of these guys are going to end up having penalties, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to follow right now. Who's on pit road? Who's in the lead? You know, the ticker only refreshes every time someone clocks a lap, so I'm not really sure who's on the lead lap right now. We'll get that to you. Right now it's clocking Greg Lavelle's the leader, but he's on pit road. Lap 33 here. He's coming off right now. At Watkins, my apologies, Robert Bauckham was leading. Greg Lavelle was third on pit road. I'm getting everyone mixed up right now. Sorry, it's my brain just scrambled as our leaderboard at the moment.
Guys, we just had a video crash here in the cart. Ricky, go to radio style. Go to radio style. Familiar from Dover.
Yeah, it actually gives me good time to figure out where we are. I'm seeing Matt Watkins on track, recorded second. Baukham's still counted as first. They're gonna come up the line here, and that should refresh to where we should be. Yes, Robert Baukham's running first. Corbin Huffman running in second, which is amazing because I believe they both overshot pit road. Phil Parker in third, Matt Watkins in fourth, Randall Coleman in seventh, a lap down. First car lap down, Randall Coleman, Zach Krastowski in fifth. So, and Corbin Huffman just passes by Robert Bauckham on the bottom. Almost looked like he let him by there. He was running slow. Interesting thing here, Joe. I'm not exactly sure who, like I said, I'm not exactly sure who has penalties, who doesn't. I thought Bauckham did, but these guys are kind of. There might be something about that cone that's a little deceptive too, because it seems like some of these guys should have been coming down for penalties and they didn't, and then some guys did come down for penalties when it seemed like they shouldn't. So we got our chickens a bunch here, but Corbin Huffman is leading at the moment, followed by Robert Bauckham, and then Matt Watkins in third. Phil Parker just dropped all the way to fifth. Seemed like he let a ton of people by, so he might be just pacing himself at the moment. Second run here, as we kind of get our bearings off of all of that. These guys are all going to be saving right now. Corbin Huffman just ran a 29-second lap last time. His best lap's a 28.3. So on fresh tires, he should be able to run better than he is. He just ran 29.2 that lap. They're just they're all clutching hard. They're all, my goodness, they are all just completely soundless, completely silent coming into turn one here. See Matt Watkins going to the inside of Robert Bauckham for second. We'll see Watkins goes for the pass or he chooses to stay behind him. Looks like he's going to just clutch it until Bauckham gets back on the gas. Baukham's going to stay high. Watkins is going to go to the inside, and they're going to be side by side here coming to the line for lap 40.
And it's just a great job by all these drivers, you know, regrouping. We still got a big pack of guys racing here. We got video back. Sorry about that to everybody. Probably going to end up losing our ticker and our lap counter too, of course, because once you lose video from the game, it likes to screw all that up. But Corbin Huffman, as you said, is currently your leader, with Matt Watkins in second, Zach Krastowski, I'm assuming, and Randall Coleman are both a lap down still?
Randall Coleman is a lap down. Zach Krastowski isn't. So Krastowski is scored in third at the moment. I think Randall's playing right now really just has to be sort of just run it wide out and wide open and hope that something happens. As you see him, oh my goodness, going for 3 wide for the leaders almost.
Well, you got to try to go grab the lead here, or try to go get your lap back now in case there's a caution. As you see, it's really close with the 15. 15 drifts up the track.
Yeah. I think Matt Watkins didn't realize Randall was going for it, went down a little bit, saw him there, and sort of had that little reactionary wiggle, like he had to shoot the car up the track real quick. They didn't accidentally door check Coleman, because in his position, when that car's under load, he's going to be the one that spins.
Mm-hmm.
So that was probably more to his safety than it was to Randall's. I would have been more concerned for him in that case. But Randall Coleman here going to take the front of the pack, at the fact being a lap down. But really, at this point, these guys are saving. He's on fresh tires. Really got nothing to lose running all out. It's if he runs all out right now and tries to sort of get back on that lead lap, he doesn't have to deal with a Bill Murnahan in the 3 or Cody Luke in the 4 for that lucky dog. He can just say that he's back on the lead lap. So Be interesting. Helps Matt Watkins out because he can essentially ride behind Coleman here and just save gas. Zach Krastowski up to second, by the way, at the moment.
And he's hunting for the lead here.
This is quite remarkable, Joe. These guys are all, you just see it, all the cars are dipping going into the turn. They are all in super save mode. They keep clustering back into a pack just because that they're all trying to like get out of each other's way so that they can clutch and just sort of roll the car in. They don't want to use any brake or gas because they don't want to lose that momentum. But they keep kind of like coming together because they're all saving at different rates. So it's definitely interesting. I know Zach Krastowski's been kind of leapfrogging everyone in the field at the moment. He's definitely saving, but I'm wondering if he's maybe not saving as much as them, so not saving as aggressively, so that might be a detriment. That could actually pay to his benefit if saving fuel doesn't get you a lot of laps. So.
Well, and he was probably one of the heavier savers in that first stint, so he probably doesn't have to do as much this time as he continues to hunt for the lead. And if you're Matt Watkins too, you're really happy that Randall's gotten back out in front because you can use him for draft to help save more fuel, right?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier. He can just ride around behind him. You know, you got Krastowski behind. Watkins has Krastowski behind him, Corbin Huffman and Phil Parker, who all were, you know, with the exception of Krastowski, Huffman and Parker were both up front, and both almost either in the lead or almost in the lead, and they essentially gave that up just so that they could sort of just coast it around the turns and hang on to that draft. As you see, Phil Parker going to the inside of the 23 for third position there.
Randall starts to have transponder issues. You see his car going all over the place. That is definitely a scary scene for the 15.
Yeah,
leading here.
In that position, you just don't want to race him. you just want him to do his thing. You're just kind of leaning back, be like, all right, you go ahead and go twitch out. I'll just stay back here where I'm not going to die.
So we're gonna get you guys set up with the in-game stuff here, just so we can at least have an accurate running order and lap counter for you here. So I apologize again for all this. Doesn't happen very often that our video feed likes to kind of go out on us, but there you're gonna see our, the stock in-game graphics up there in the right-hand corner of the screen. Matt Watkins still your leader, but Zach Krastowski looking to the inside for the lead.
Yeah, it looks like Zach Krastowski on the inside, and then he kind of just loses some spots. I wonder if he sort of got wise to what was going on, decided I'm not going to take the lead, I'm just going to ride around the draft here. Because riding around behind more cars is going to help you more with saving gas. Even Matt Watkins up there, he gets to draft Randall. You can make incremental gains by running behind a few guys just because by chance that gives you a stronger draft. Parker going the outside of Watkins here to draft Randall Coleman. He's gonna get. Oh, he's gonna make
Dyson
a
here.
Right on Coleman's bumper.
Well, and if you're Phil Parker, you don't. I mean, I guess maybe you want to put more cars between you and Watkins in case there's a caution, or because you're definitely not going to make it on fuel because he was one of the first guys to pit.
Yeah, I've noticed Parker was saving, but it almost looks like he's still clutching a little bit, but almost seems like in the last few laps he said nuts to this and sort of just started pushing it a little harder just to get going. Come down halfway down the straightaway here, lap B. Looks like he's taking command on this, but these guys are trying to keep that draft, so it's kind of forcing them to maybe push it a little harder than they have been. As you see, Matt Watkins again going to the inside for the lead, and it looks like he's going to take it as Robert Baucom's going to come back up into the fray and go with him.
Well, and Baucom definitely, I mean, he's still saving, but he's probably in the best position to save enough to make it to the end of this race. Here he did a really good job. You see the 08 slide right up in front of the 23. Scary dicing through the field moment there. But that 18 car has definitely saved a lot of fuel here. And it's a strategy that's worked, and we talked about too at the top of the broadcast. Baucom was our winner here last season at Kansas. That was a night event, of course, so a little different track conditions, but he did a really good job then. He's doing a good job here just managing this race. You know, we're going to be closing in on 10 laps to go here pretty soon, and it'll be interesting to see if that 18 car can make a push for the win.
Yeah, we didn't touch about it too much at the start of the race, maybe because we've done it a few times at short tracks, but you really can't count out Robert Baucom in a lot of these races just because he has a very strong discipline for saving his stuff, that he'll sort of just like kind of bide his. Some tracks he's really good at just being running fast while also saving his stuff, almost to the point where you just think it's magic. But some places, even when he's not running up front with everyone, he's just kind of biding his time, waiting, being patient for his time to strike. And I think he definitely seeing it here right now as he sort of just rides around here in second. I think he's probably going to be sizing up Matt Watkins here, just kind of hoping Watkins runs his stuff out because he no longer has Randall Coleman to lean off of, who's on pit road currently. And 008 of Greg Lavelle and the 51 Phil Parker just kind of doors there going into turn one.
That's got to be a scary moment. And if you're Corbin Huffman in this 23, you're definitely worried about losing those front three. As the 51 and the 08, it looked like they were battling pretty hard for that position, where it doesn't really seem like there's a need to do so.
Yeah, which that could just be a matter of they're both trying to get a good run through the turn. I don't think either of them are really pushing it. Parker sort of dropped a little bit behind Lavelle since that altercation, but 15 losing the lead right now to Robert Bauckham. Just went to the inside. Looks like the 15 sort of just went up high, and then it's a lot. These passes are a lot more prominent for the lead right now because you're noticing that the guys up front here are going into the turn, then they're clutching it. And so they're just rolling it through the turn. So the only thing keeping them, for lack of a better word, fast, I guess, with the field, is that they're carrying the most momentum. So when someone does what, like for example, what Watkins is doing right now, running a little higher up the track, while you're having to turn the wheel more to get the car to turn like that, so you're kind of scrubbing the tires just a tiny bit more, and you're just losing a little more momentum than everyone else. So Bauckham could clutch it into the turn like he did and just shoot right by Matt Watkins like he was standing still. But you can kind of see Watkins is starting to trail him back down. You're going to see a lot of this as we come to 57 to go here, that they're just going to keep trailing each other until they get to pit stops on trying to let someone else burn out their fuel.
Well, I want to correct you there. We're not 57 to go. We're here on lap 57, coming to 10 to go this next time by. And I'd like to give a shout out to our good friend and broadcast partner, Tommy Bordeaux, 57 Dream Machine, sponsored by TWB. And Tommy, of course, isn't here this evening, but he's done a great job for us, and just like to give him a shout out here on his lap 57. And as I say that, we're on our TWB 10 to go. TWB has obviously been a great partner of ours here, sponsoring our 10 to go segment. And for years, TWB has provided consumers and businesses alike with products and services that get stuff done. Visit TWB.com for more information. TWB, let's do this together. And that's your TWB 10 to go here as Robert Bauckham continues to lead at Kansas.
Yeah, we're coming up, hitting the line here for 9 to go right now. It's going to be interesting because these guys are probably going to have to pit stops if they don't have enough to make to the end here. And we already saw how pit stops went. Everyone overshot it. I'm still kind of coming to terms. I'm still in denial coming to terms with that no one got a penalty or everyone got a penalty because I still really don't know what happened there. But if people go shooting past that again, that's going to be cause for alarm. As Luke's saying he's pitting, he's quite a ways back, a lap down in 8th, so I don't think that's the general consensus of the field at the moment. But
well, that'll be another position for that 9 car, too.
Yeah, well, the 9 car is 2 laps down right now since he already pitted, so they're going to come out, and they're going to come out in fresh rubber, so they'll probably be able to leapfrog him again as soon as they come out, because he was running right with them.
As 15 of Matt Watkins, he's starting to close the gap on the 18, getting closer and closer to his bumper. Does he pull a move like he did earlier in the race on Corbin Huffman, where he kind of just followed him into the corner, maybe got on that rear bumper and made that car loose on entry and made it drift up the track? Or does he do this and look to the outside?
I think he waits until the moment that he feels like he can strike, in terms of just diving it into the turn and getting a run. Because it's a tricky game to push someone going into the turn here. It's not as pronounced as at a mile and a half, but going into the turns probably about where the car's going to be the lightest. Where the rear end of that car is going to be the lightest. If you get on someone's rear bumper, in some cases, on some tracks, it's going to not really do a whole ton. Never really know. You could give someone a shot just like you gave them, and they could just completely whip around. You see Matt Watkins looking to the inside here, just starting to size up Robert Bauckham.
As he looks for the lead, they're going to be side by side, but we've seen that outside. If he can't clear him here as he looks to do it, but if you can't clear the guy off of 4, it's really hard to be able to make the pass, as Bauckham's going to lead this lap, but the 15 of Matt Watkins still on the inside. It'll be interesting to see how as we go down into 1 and 2, where the outside is maybe a little bit better than the inside. But Watkins makes it work. They're still side by side as we come through 2. Down the backstretch, it's going to be a drag race to 3.
Yeah, well, at this track, Joe, when you're on a single car run, it kind of helps because neither of these guys are getting a ton of wind. As you see Matt Watkins starting to make that charge for first there. Neither of these guys are getting a ton of wind, so Bauckham gets a better run off the turn, but Watkins can go dive it in a lot deeper. So it seems like it's still paying off a little bit for him. I think because Zach Krastowski's been kind of running just on his tail a couple seconds back there. It just a slight bit of wind's helping him, but not a ton to help him as he washes up the track a little bit. Robert Baucom comes back to take the lead.
Yeah, great battle for the lead here. The 15 of Matt Watkins is going to fall back in line and probably try to make another charge here, get those tires cooled down a little bit. We're going to be coming to 3 laps to go this time. Bye.
Yeah, Joe, these guys are running wide open right now, so I'm wondering if maybe they've saved up. Maybe this long con's been something everyone's been doing, and maybe they're ready to just run to the end. Be interested to see if they can make it, or if they're just hoping that they don't run out.
Yeah, Watkins looks to the inside. He's going to try to drifts up the track a little. Probably has to let off the gas to make sure, but we're going to have another drag race down the back stretch going into 3. Watkins on the inside, Walkham on the outside. Be interesting to see where the 1 is Zach Krastowski goes. See if he's going to push the 15 down here, give him a little bit of boost. But the 15 drifts up the track, gets a little loose or tight, whatever you want to say. Coming to 2 laps to go here at Kansas.
Krastowski's getting close here. He's getting right in the back bumper of Watkins. He's got the 08 of Greg Lavelle with him. They're going to come running here. So you got Watkins starting to make that charge again. They're going to come running up here quick if Baucom doesn't have any help.
And Baucom's going to try to side draft, get on that quarter panel of the 15, try to pull him back. See the 51's falling farther and farther back from this pack, but it looks like the 15 is going to clear him off of 4. He does so. Matt Watkins to the lead, coming to the white flag, trying to take it. 1 more lap this time. 1 lap to go here at Kansas.
Hey, you got to wonder, are these guys going to be able to make it on fuel? Are they good on fuel? Can Watkins make it here and bring this whole thing home, or is he going to just come sputtering off turn 4?
As the battle is not for first, if Watkins can make it, this battle for second heating up. Zach Krastowski looks to the inside, but it doesn't look like he'll get there. Corbin Huffman on his outside, though, looking for third. It's going to be a drag race for third, but Matt Watkins is going to win here at Kansas. And Corbin Huffman gets third by 1/100th of a second. But Matt Watkins is your winner here at Kansas. We went green flag to checkered flag. No cautions this evening. What a great race by all these drivers.
What a great run that was, Joe. What a masterful little piece of driving there by Matt Watkins. He just timed that up, got the draft when he needed to. Him and Robert Baucom had a great race there. Definitely a lot of very clean driving, very close racing there. But I think at the end, Watkins just had the dominant line, just got the cars that he needed to just to get that little extra edge to get by Baucom, and that's all he needed to do to check out.
Well, and Watkins continues his dominance here in the Dash Series. He was our Segment 1 champion here in 2020. He won our last mile-and-a-half race at Charlotte and wins the second mile-and-a-half race of the season here at Kansas. Ricky, it's been a pleasure. It's been a great evening of racing. If you got one more chance to sum up this race, how do you do it?
I just say it's strategy. All I can say, everyone's saving, everyone overshooting pit road, having to kind of regroup and reconvene on what they're doing, and just hoping that you're able to set up the pass for the win there, like we just saw Matt Watkins do.
Yeah, and he did a great job all night, and all these guys did a great job saving enough gas to make it a one-stop race. You saw a heartbreak a lot of times for guys getting to pit road, cooked it. Randall Coleman, he missed the commitment cone. That really cost him the race there. But it's been a great race here. It was a great race here at Kansas. All technical difficulties aside, we had a great finish there between the 18 of Robert Baucom and that Coors Light Chevy and the 15 of Matt Watkins and that Mario Toyota Supra. My name is Joe Towanski. I've been alongside Mr. Ricky Collette for this evening's race. Thank you again, Ricky, for joining us. And if you would like your NR 2003 online league broadcasted, contact us at the Facebook down below in the comment description for availability and pricing and all the fun stuff that comes with broadcasting NR 2003. Again, like to thank you guys so much for tuning in this evening as I'm tripping over my words. Next week we'll be at the Michigan International Speedway, my home track, and we will not be in Kansas anymore. My name is Joe Towanski, signing off here for JTN. I hope you guys have a great week. Enjoy the truck race. Enjoy, if it's not over yet, enjoy tomorrow night's cup race, and enjoy a great week of racing on the real track at Bristol. Again, I am Joe Towanski. I will see you guys next week at the Michigan International Speedway for Tuesday night's presentation at 9 p.m. of the Fast Racing League Mountain Dew Dash Series. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next time.